right, on three. One, two, three.
I'm ready.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Yesterday, I attended a webinar, and the webinar started with a question that really made me think. And that question was, if you were able to do anything in business and you knew you could not fail, what would you do? Well, one by one, people started answering the question. They spoke about becoming different careers. They spoke about changing industries. They spoke about starting new companies, doing something that they had always dreamed of doing. But as I sat there and I listened, a thought immediately came to my head. I would do exactly what I'm doing right now. And strangely enough, I felt a little embarrassed by the answer. I actually caught myself thinking, is that boring? And then I stopped myself because two thoughts immediately followed it. The first was, why in the world would I be embarrassed by the fact that I absolutely love what I'm doing? And the second was, how incredibly lucky am I to be able to say that? Think about that. If someone handed you a guarantee that you could not fail, that you could have unlimited opportunity, that you could choose anything, and your answer would be, I choose to continue to do this. That is not something to be embarrassed about. That is actually something to be deeply grateful for. How many people spend their entire lives trying to find the work that feels meaningful, work that they believe where they're contributing, work where they feel they're serving others, work where they feel connected to a purpose? And I realized I don't want someone else's dream. I absolutely love mine. And that realization became even more powerful as that webinar continued. The speaker then started speaking about being seen, advocating for yourself, making sure people know what you do, putting yourself forward of opportunities. And again, I was listening to learn, I was listening to observe, but inside me, I kept thinking, wow, I remember at one point in my career where I knew what it felt like to not be seen, for having the feeling that I needed permission to speak, for believing that I had to wait quietly in the corner and hope that someone eventually noticed me. And then another thought hit me. There's a lot of people who feel that way. There's a lot of people sitting in rooms right now with incredible ideas that are afraid to share them. People that are doing extraordinary work who don't speak about it. There are people that have knowledge that could help someone else, but they're afraid that they might sound arrogant. There's people who have a story that could change someone else's life, but they think, who am I to share it? And that's what we're going to speak about today. Because every one of us has the greatest gifts. And you know what that is? You. And the people around us. It's having the permission to show up as your original version of yourself. Not the edited version, not the watered down version, not the version designed to make other people feel comfortable, not the version that tries to sound like everyone else. It's you. Think about that for a moment. There has never been another person who has lived your life. Nobody that has the exact combination of your experiences, your mistakes, your successes, your failures, your heartbreak, your ideas, your talents, and your perspective. So when you hide a part of yourself, you might think, well, somebody else has already said that. You know, this week, about 2 days ago, a woman mortgage broker called me. And when I picked up the phone, she said I said, how are you doing, Melissa? And she said, well, I'm doing really great now because every time I speak to you, I feel good. And I said, well, why wouldn't we feel good? It's a great day. We're going to do well today. And she said to me, you know, Laura, I just got back from a family reunion and I do feel great. But I almost feel guilty telling people I feel great because everybody's miserable. Everybody's complaining about business. Everybody's upset. So I feel like if I feel great, I should hide myself. And I said, Melissa, don't you understand? By us sharing, we feel great. We may be able to turn someone else around. And then I asked her questions about her family reunion and learned that her mother had 15 siblings. 15! And we went on for the next 10 minutes speaking about her entire family. And she said to me, do you know this is the first time anyone in the mortgage industry asked me about this? And at that moment, we bonded. In that moment, I learned the perspective of her life that no one had ever thought to ask her about. See, when we think that things have already been said or already been done, that's not the case. No one else can see things from where you're standing. Someone else, yeah, maybe they can do it their way, but they can't tell the story or do the work through your eyes. And sometimes it's exactly what the information they need. It's your version. Have you ever heard something over and over, but then that one person says it a little bit differently, and suddenly you go, oh my God, now I get it. That person didn't necessarily invent the idea. It's because the message came from a way that immediately connected to you. Well, someone may be waiting for you to explain something in the only way that you can. That's why shrinking doesn't serve anyone. That's why hiding doesn't serve anyone. That's why constantly worrying about whether you're qualified enough, polished enough, experienced enough, or interesting enough doesn't serve anyone. Because while you're busy wondering whether you belong in the conversation, someone else may desperately need to hear the way you say it. And I want you to make an important distinction. Showing up doesn't mean, look at me, I'm amazing. It means, here is what I know. Here is what I've learned. Here is what I've experienced. And if it can help you, I want to share it. That's service. Advocating for yourself isn't saying you're better than others. It's saying, I believe I have something valuable to contribute. And that shouldn't we want everyone to feel that way? Shouldn't we want the quiet person in the meeting to speak? Shouldn't we want the new employee to suggest a better process? Shouldn't we want the person who solved the problem to explain how they solved it? Shouldn't we want everyone raising their hands? Because imagine how much knowledge is currently trapped inside the people because they're afraid of how we may perceive it. That's heartbreaking. So today, I give you 3 challenges. The first one, say the thing. Today, when you have a thought that could help a conversation, say it. When you have an idea, offer it. When you disagree respectfully, speak up. When you know something that can make someone's life easier, share it. Don't spend 10 minutes mentally rehearsing whether everyone will think that it's brilliant. Just contribute. Your job is to bring your perspective into the room. Challenge number 2, no minimizing yourself. Listen for these words. If you ever say, I'm just a processor, I'm just getting started, I'm just helping, I'm probably wrong, oh, this is a stupid idea. Why are we giving disclaimers before we speak? Imagine if we walked into a restaurant and the chef said, here's your meal. It's probably terrible, but give it a try. We would literally go, what? So stop introducing your ideas by telling everyone not to believe in them. Instead of saying, this may be stupid, instead say, here's another way we can look at it. Instead of, I'm just, try, here's what I'm seeing from my perspective. And challenge number 3, see someone else. This may be the most important one. Because if you have been fortunate enough to feel seen, help others feel seen. Ask the quiet person, what do you think? Tell someone that was a really good idea. Give credit publicly. Introduce someone to a person they should know. Tell someone, you should speak about that. You know an awful lot. You're an expert. Or I see something in you. And I want to go back to that question from yesterday. If I could do anything and I knew I couldn't fail, what would I do? Maybe your answer is something completely different than what you're doing today, and that's okay. Maybe the question revealed a dream you've been ignoring. Pay attention to it. But maybe your answer is, I would be right here. Celebrate that too. Don't let anyone make you think you aren't ambitious because you love the life you've already built. Success isn't always wanting something different. Sometimes success is looking around and realizing this is everything I ever hoped for. And then asking, how can I make it even more meaningful? So today, show up as your original you. Bring your energy, your experience, your weirdness. Bring your ideas, your stories, your enthusiasm, your voice, because there are already plenty of copies in the world. We don't need another version of someone else. We need you. And remember this, being seen isn't about taking action or attention away from someone else. It's about making sure that your gift that you were given actually gets utilized. So say the thing, share the idea, raise your hand, give someone else the microphone. And when the little voice says, who are you to do this? You answer it with, I'm me. And that's exactly why I should. Wishing you all a remarkable day, and we'll see you tomorrow.